everyone, I hope you're well. I'm here today with a bit of a fun video. I've seen a lot of other cosplayers and YouTubers do this and I've always wanted to do it, so I'm going to make a cosplay in a day, or it's actually probably gonna be a few days, but that's okay. It's gonna be a quick one no matter what. As you're probably aware, the Final Fantasy VII Remake came out recently, and although I'm not a die-hard Final Fantasy fan, I still really like it. I've played a bunch of the games. I got super into 15 when that came out, and although I didn't really play much of 7 myself, I did have a lot of friends that were super into it, and weirdly enough, I've never actually cosplayed Tifa. She's such a classic badass female that it's probably quite strange that I haven't been her yet. But anyway, I guess I just never had time for it, or I just never got around to making it. And that is going to change now. The kind of twist I'm doing, I suppose, is that I'm doing an original design by Hannah Alexander Artwork. I recently saw that she did a bunch of really awesome designs for the characters, Tifa included, and there was one design that she specifically did, this beautiful one, that I kind of looked at and I was like, oh shit, I reckon I can actually make that using things I have, because obviously we're still trying to isolate as much as possible and there's no way that I'm going to leave the house just to get fabric or whatever. But I also thought now's a really good time, since I have lots of free time, to film a video like this, and as I mentioned, I'm excited to cosplay Tifa finally, and I really do like this design, and we'll just see how it goes. I'm basically just making this costume for some cool photos, so I don't really care if it's not properly made, or if, you know, I kind of hot glue a few things instead of sewing it together. I've definitely gotten much better at making really clean and good quality costumes, but I don't know, when I first started out I had no idea how to sew or to do anything, and I literally did some crazy shit. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but I must admit sometimes it's nice to just not really care that much about the finished product. I just want to do it, see how it turns out, and get some cool photos. So that is the plan for this costume as well. And obviously finishing it off in a couple of days, it will also be a nice challenge. So for materials, I've just got this white fabric from my stash, as well as this red fabric. It's got some kind of cute detailing on it, which I think will be really cute. And then obviously I've got the black fabric for kind of the skirt panels and whatnot, and then also this kind of faux leather for the little strap around her arms. I've got some gloves that I'm going to paint, some socks which just happen to be the right design, as well as some ribbon, and then also some lace from, honestly, I think these must have been cut off some old projects, or if I needed to hem something up. So I'm actually just going to spray paint these the right colours and then attach them where need be. Probably the main problem about this design is actually the shorts, because although I could probably find some really nice ones from an op shop or something, I'm not going to risk going out for them. I really don't need to. So what I'll probably do is I'll get something like this, spray paint it red, and then just add it to some black shorts, so that way I still have that kind of fun design, but it just won't reach the entire shorts. The only thing about the design that I might actually change will be the shoes. I don't know if I have any sand shoes that could work out for that, or that I'm willing to paint. So I might actually just wear some boots, but I feel like that's still pretty Tifa-esque, and yeah, we'll see at the very end and I'll try everything together and decide then. I reckon if I get these little black shorts I have and then sew in this kind of lace detailing, which will be spray painted red, I think that'll do the job nicely, and then I can always unpick it when I'm done. I'm cutting the white fabric into long strips and then pinning it together and then attempting to wrap it around my little mannequin. I struggled a little bit with this to get the correct shape, but eventually I got there. I realise this looks kind of ridiculous, but at least I kind of I know how much fabric I need and how to wrap it around myself, and then I can get to hemming this crap and also dyeing it, which I will be doing with acrylic paint, because cheap and it's all I have. The next step is cutting out the black fabric, and again I'm just using my mannequin to kind of allow me to pattern on top of it. And then once I'm happy with how it all looks together, I'm going to start cutting out the red trim. As I said, I'm using some black gloves I had in my little hoard, so I'm just cutting them to the right size and then making them fingerless as well. So we are on to the second day now of this little cosplay fun. I'm actually still working on my Thor cosplay, which is another reason why I haven't tried to do this all in one day, because I am technically still finishing off some other things. I didn't get quite as much done yesterday as planned, but that's okay, I'll make up for it today. Today will be quite sewing heavy and I can actually start trying some of the pieces on and doing some of the patterning for the little armor bits as well, and it'll be all good. Now it's time to finally sew everything together, and I won't lie, these shots are really satisfying to watch. I managed to get a lot of sewing footage, and so I hope you enjoy it as well. God, I forgot how tedious hemming is. Technically, I could probably get away without doing this, but I have at least a few standards, even if I'm making a rush costume, so oh well, better get to it. Now I've pinned some white ribbon to the edges of the lace here, just to kind of emulate the effect that is shown in the art. I'm quite happy with how it looks, but the only problem is that I don't actually have enough lace to completely finish up the back of the shorts. As you can see, I've left some ribbon here just so I can actually tie it so it sits nicely against my thigh, but yeah, there is a gaping hole there. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you use things that I just have. Now the other thing about these kinds of wraps is that ideally I'd actually sew it all together so it sat really nicely and I didn't have to worry about adjusting it too much, but because I'm, you know, doing my lazy job here, what I'll probably end up doing is the day of the photo shoot, I'll just pin it all in place using pins, safety pins, or whatever, so that way I don't have to adjust it too much, but I don't have to worry about, you know, adding a zip or adding some elastic or adding Velcro or whatever. I'll just deal with it on the day and put it on and that'll be all good. I was contemplating if I wanted to actually hem the little red sections, but the fabric doesn't fray too much, and I honestly couldn't really be bothered, so I ended up just cutting it to size and then ironing everything out. To everyone who doesn't have a craft room, I feel you. I must admit, having the tripod and also the ironing board in here is making it very tight, but hey, I will do what I can with what I have. Now obviously I'm missing some detailing, and I actually have this pinned and not sewn yet, but this is kind of what it's gonna look like. I'm pretty happy with it. I might actually go back in with this lace and make it a little bit more redder just to match the trim here, but yeah, quite happy with it. Ideally, I'd use leather paint for the gloves, but I didn't really care that much, so I just went with acrylic paint. For the little armour detailing, I just used thin EVA foam and hot glued everything together and then cut it to the right shape. So googly eyes are great to do like little rivets, but look at him! It's so great! Oh boy. I used more of the little googly eyes to almost act as studs for the rest of the costume, so I just hot glued all of those on and then they will be painted silver later on. I also did this for the little choker neck piece too. I don't have any fabric dye on hand, so what I just did is mix some red and brown acrylic paint with water and then essentially tie-dyed it. The effect isn't perfect and as seamless as it is in the art, but honestly it still looks pretty cool and it gets the job done. Then it's time to paint on all of the white detailing on the outfit, and for this I just use white acrylic paint and essentially freehand it. It's not perfect, but you know, looks good from afar and that's all that matters. I ended up just hot gluing the armor bits to the gloves, and I don't show it here, but I went back in and just kind of darkened up the edges as well as the rivets. Alright gang, we're now on day 3, which will be the last day of working on Tifa, and then tomorrow will be photo shoot time, which will be lots of fun. I'll make sure to grab some footage of the full costume as well. I finished a few things off last night. I have the little glove and armor bits all nice and finished. They were done quite roughly, as I probably mentioned in the voiceover, but they work. They look very cool from afar, which is what I'm going for. So now all that's left is to style the wig and... holy crap, I think that might be everything. Yeah, style the wig, try everything on, and then just hope for the best. I kept the wig styling pretty simple. Like I said, I already had this wig hanging around and it was more or less styled correctly already. I just kind of changed up the fringe a little bit, added the little spiky bits that Final Fantasy characters have, and then I used some hairspray and a hairdryer to keep the hair in place. I then secured a low ponytail and added some ribbon. And then after that, the costume was done and it was time to get ready for the photo shoot.